Hello, everyone. This is the 12th episode of the AI on Air. Today, actually, we are very honored to have Ryan, the CEO and co-founder of Surf, and also the CEO of CyberConnect, join us. Ryan, do you want to give an audience maybe a brief intro about your background, and then what you built previously and what you built today?
Yeah, hi everyone. And thank you so much, Scott, for inviting me today. I'm Ryan, co-founder and CEO at Surf. So Surf is an AI platform for crypto markets. We try to make the market a lot more explainable, make the insights more available to regular users and professionals. And before this, did a lot of crypto stuff, and I did my AI undergrad at Berkeley.
That's awesome. Ryan, when you mention this make market insights explainable and just visible to the individual user, I think before Kite, we used to build a data block, which is data infra company. I think we work with CyberConnect as well. In this case, we support data infra for CyberConnect. Like at that time, there is this thesis that stay ahead of curve in this case. So we want to find who is actually most profitable traders in this case, dig through this gold mine of data and find the most profitable trader for last month and then just follow them. I think I think dilemma for this is that it's hard to make that into a product. In this case, it's hard to make a product. It's like you have like similar to hedge fund or this Wall Street company. You may have a small team working as like a small size, maybe like a few millions, maybe as large as few hundred million, even $1 billion. But they have a very secret strategy. They can profit from it. But once you open this strategy, in this case, it's actually it's probably going to turn into a losing strategy. Like, how would you think about this part? And how what's your strategy for this part? I wonder.
Yeah, great question. We definitely agree that trade secret is kind of what makes hedge funds successful, and they are always going to be secret. So Surf is very different that we don't build insights directly. Like on Surf, you don't really see opinionated tools or data or any kind of information for users. Surf is intentionally a tool at this moment for users to discover insight themselves. It's more like think of Surf as like a intern or a very experienced intern that just really listens to you, but like really knows how to use data on chain, how to use the tools that crypto professionals use, and just do things on your behalf. So it's very different than like a data platform where you have like, oh, look at this smart money, or look at this feed, or look at how the bubble maps tell you about specific things. Surf uses these different tools and form more insights that are unique to every users. A big reason why Surf is AI native, or it's a chatbot, is because everyone will have very different way of thinking about what data they need. Like we don't build like dashboards or data products. So it's less opinionated, I would say, and everyone can build still trade secret on Surf. The Surf is like a tool.
I see. So basically, it's like your co-pilot for data analyst or insights analyst in this case. Is that right?
Yeah, I think data analyst is a good way to think about it at this point. Yes, and Surf does a lot of other things too. That goes a little bit beyond data, but I think data is what really roots financial markets or crypto markets to the fundamental truth. So it does have a strong emphasis on data being right.
Okay, I'm actually very interested in what other functionality provide beyond data, but maybe focus on data first. I remember back back at Uber days, in this case, at Uber, we have so many data analysts working on different insights. Uber is a very data-driven company. Each day we have 30 million trips, and then we have few hundred millions rider, and then like a 10 to 50 million driver in this case. So each of data actually has tons of insights, and then I remember like during like Uber days that we basically the data engineer preparing the data ready to use, and then you have a group of data analysts, anywhere between like 10 people to 100 people, focus on each of the area. Some of them working on safety related, say, hey, which area has the highest safety incidents, and just digging through the data, then to read all the SQL query and get insights. And some of them focus on, like, for example, pricing, and say, hey, what's the pricing strategy? Like in this case, do some data analysis. Like, I guess with the Gen AI, this part actually automate this 100 the data analyst team work. So that is that mainly the vision for SERP in this case, and how does that go in this case? I wonder, like, how does that go? Like, is that vision,
Yeah, I think you described a very interesting, and I think the what you described is pretty much what we saw across teams in crypto as well. Like, teams don't have like 100 people on data analysis, but every crypto team has at least some people, right? Either they are the founder themselves, or they are like the data analyst or the data team. They compile all the data from I think one thing that's very different in crypto is like everyone is actually accessing almost the same data. It's the
Yeah.
same blockchain, the same Twitter. Um, but like everyone will look at it somehow differently and very unique to their need. However, every team has to start from scratch, right? Everyone has to find whatever data sources in the beginning, do analysis, build pipelines. And that's just not doable for like a single person founder trying, like, starting out a new company, or for like for like bigger teams, they have to acquire like data sources from 20, 30 vendors to even begin anything. I think that's where Surf kind of bridges that. Like, as a like, you can go on Surf right now and just ask questions directly without like needing to think about, oh, where should I find those data? What insights can I extract from it? One use case that I found super interesting was last year. I think there was a market drop for this one particular token, and I asked Surf, like, why did it drop? It was a pretty big drop as well, and Surf obviously was able to find, like, on Twitter, on news, like, oh, that token did drop. It was caused by some concentrated selling. It was like some KOLs are saying something, but eventually was able to connect the news to like on-chain source of truth. I was able to find like 10 transactions from one single wallet that sold in like a span of a couple seconds. And that will tell you, like, oh, that's kind of why we're seeing this massive drop, because some you can identify the exact wallets that are selling at the time. So yeah, it's like that kind of work makes Surf quite useful to a lot of people. They might be just interested in researching in general, or they want to find like trades for themselves.
Actually, Ryan, I actually want to acknowledge this is actually incredible hard work in this case, because not only you need to have like a completed set of data. For example, just take the example you have before, why the price drop. You probably need all the on-chain transaction data. You need to have all the, for example, exchange labeling data. You need to have this Twitter data, like information channel, and you need to grab the news data. Like leak, like a missing or any data may give you partial or completely wrong information in this case. The key part is that not only you need to have the data, but you also need to search through this mine of data and find the right data and assemble the impact of the data in this case. It's a tons of work to lay a data foundation, to make sure you have all the correct related channel data, make sure data is complete, not stale in this case, in time, not stale, real time, and also means that you need to aggregate data and find the root cause of data. This is actually incredibly hard in this case. I know this from firsthand experience at Uber in this case. Like, depends on how you do the data analysis. You may actually get completely wrong or completely opposite, this opinion or this insights just from the same data or sometimes from partial data. In this case, it's incredibly hard. In this case, it's just kudos for you and the serve team.
Well, thank you. I think, as an engineer, coming from like engineering background, you definitely, well, a lot of people would say, just put AI on top of anything, like magic will just happen. Probably it's a little bit harder than that.
Yeah. So this is like we are kidding that now everyone call the AI engineer, AI scientist. Before AI is a coolest kid, it used called data engineer and data scientist in this case. And then when you do all the things related to AI, 95% work or machine learning, 95% work is actually related to data. Just for example, all the big companies, even for the Ethereum data and then ETH data, you have this snowflake schema. So you have the big fat table, like fact table. You have tons of dimension table in this case, and you need to dig through the landscape, find out what's the right fact table, what's the right dimension table to actually dig through. Majority of the ant work, majority of the AI scientist work is just data scientist work is actually find the right data, clean the data, and then just train a model on top of it. And most of the time they feel like they are data cleaner in this case, comparing to like AI scientist, data scientist. It's pretty hard work in this case. I think it's and also get consistent, right? So I feel like data is like a running water, in this case. Like, you may have the whole pipeline ready, but at any given time, if one of the pipeline is broken, then your water is polluted, the data is polluted, then you actually need to start over again. Just fix the pipeline in this case. And I feel like another thing, probably not so much in crypto world in this case, but if you're working in like a data-driven company, you have millions of tables. Like I think there is a completely different opposite. I remember Pinterest actually have almost like 500,000 table, if I remember correctly, like 500,000 table in this case. Like just digging through the table in this case is actually pretty hard. Like find the right table to use.
Yeah, that's what you said was really really right. And one thing I think serve was I think we're lucky is we started more AI native way. Like we never we never built data. I mean, we still built data day one, but we were very AI native in ways that we built data pipeline, or very AI native in terms of how we use those data. Right now, Surf has the most complete Cryptopedia. It's a product that we have on Surf website. It's basically the best source of truth for projects fundraising, their team, their tokens performance, liquidation, whatever, open interest, like things that you would care. And we have it in one place, instead of you needing to go to different products, finding different information. And we build a lot of them from ground source ourselves. So made sure that things are quite clean. And we're pretty lucky we were able to do it because of AI are getting just so much better now. Like all the models are getting so much better. Yeah, and giving them access to, like, giving user access to the data is also quite challenging. Like there's no way you can give everything to AI and just let it figure it out. Like you still have to design like what the harness should look like, what kind of context is the right way to expose. Like there were just very different ways that people were building these kind of systems over last year. It was also like a lot of changes. Now we're seeing very different approaches than what Surf started, and I think a big part of that is how it's like affecting how we're thinking about Surf 2.0. And I'm very excited for Surf 2.0, where the orchestration and the final product will look even more close to what like like a senior analyst would offer, instead of like, oh, just give me like a report, like a PDF or like a long text. Where like Surf was already adding like charts, um, giving you more options to see like how the format should look like. You can upload images, but then like Surf 2.0 will also dramatically change the way people work with Surf. It's like actually having someone work for you that runs there, that reminds you about upcoming things, or triggered by certain events. It's able to have something live for you, like a dashboard that's always for you. Just like a lot of I think ways people are already how people are already working in crypto, and we encapsulate that into like a product that's end to end rather than just answer a question. But yeah, like
Actually,
that part is very hard too.
yeah, right. I actually want to follow up on several, front from what you said. One thing is actually so a few more things. One thing is actually how the breakthrough for last I think 6 to 7 weeks for AI coding has become. Like I think we are at an inflection point. The AI coder is actually better than human coder. I think we can reach to that later. I want to focus on surfers. Another thing is that I feel like when you mention this new data, this Surf 2.0 and this data-driven, AI-driven, this data analyst. I think one thing is very different than the data, corporation or, the company, the Silicon Valley company deal with a few years back is that this is actually not, this is multimedia data. It's like chat data, it's like image data, video data. This is actually not this, this seller data, this tabular data a few years back. For example, previously, it's all this tabular data like user information, the trip information. But I guess the new Gen AI data, tons of them actually is text data, chart data, image data. Like in that case, how you actually process this data, how you actually, like agentic search, RAG, how you process the data. I wonder, and what do you find is most effective way to process the data, and would you like? I don't know. You like the new, this multimedia formal data, like how you process it comparing to the old way of this tabular data. What do you feel like is the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like the way we use AIs are just like bridging the gaps between the more structured data and the just the random contexts that are just not structured. And I think internally, so Surf has processed about 2.5 million research requests. Like people are making, like asking legit, pretty detailed research requests, like asking about Kite TGG back in the days, or asking about what's going on in the market. And we try really hard to make sure what Surf offers is correct, is accurate, and it's not hallucination, and it's backed by sourced data. And internally, we review all of that with our internal evals. We have a ton of internal eval that just try to make sure we are giving the right answers, or constantly improving. So when you say like how are we processing or how are we liking those data, it's just everything is by AI now. Like we have eval pipeline that runs on every answer, and making sure that they are as good as possible, and learn from the mistakes that we make, improve our internal harness, improve our data quality. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to have a stable group of users that really love using Surf and give it really challenging questions. But
Actually, I'm very interested in this case, how you build your pipeline, right? Because, for example, you mentioned this, like for example, focus on why price drop for a particular token, what's trending in that case for on-chain transaction. That's actually correlates like on-chain tabular data, from a database or something, right? So you need to, scan through the tabular data. but you also need to integrate with like Twitter data, other maybe user update the image and ask you some other data. Like how did you find that part combine this completely two different data sources, and how does that work in your case? And because for example, if you interact with database, SQL is the interface, SQL is the language to get the data, transaction data, and then block data, transaction data, and maybe receive data, and this data. And then on the other hand, it's basically just Twitter data and multimedia data. Like how would you actually? I wonder just how would you actually combine these two, and what's working and what's not working. I wonder, yeah.
Yeah. But it's exactly the context and hardness that we were building. Starting out, we were pretty much, I think Surf was one of the earliest deep research product, not only in crypto but like everywhere. I think when we launched, I don't even think Gemini Studio was out. Like just like there's not a lot of options people can do deep research, and the way we do it within deep research is definitely, as you said, connecting structured results from running SQL, from running internal tools, connecting that with like unstructured results. Internally, we do have like different agents breaking down like questions, making sure they all do a part of it, and then summarizing them, reporting them. I think that was like one of the ways we did it earlier. Now we have our own model. We have our own fine-tuned model that just does the tooling a little bit better. It does checking the reports a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing magic. It's just a lot of engineering effort, and we just iterate a lot faster with the users' input. Like feedback is really important to us.
I agree. I think as Sam Altman mentioned, like earlier last year, say, hey, no one actually has mode. The memory and the user interaction and the user data is probably your only mode. Similar, the same story happens like to Google even 25 years ago. The biggest mode Google search has is a user click link. In this case, like user feedback. They use this information to re-rank this the website. I think in nowadays, like particularly from the ChatGPT is still ahead of Gemini. From my personal experience, I feel like it's just ChatGPT has much more user data, comparing to Gemini from this perspective, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great. I think that's really going back to like comparing two answers, right? Like a big part of the being a chatbot is you can kind of rank which answer you like better, and I think that's like a big way to fine tune a lot of the models that they did. I think now there's also a big trend that and entirely is moving toward like a agentic future where intermediate steps are like there are so many intermediate steps, and turns out RL is the only way to do it, and then you have to find verifiable proof. So naturally, like coding becomes like a perfect ground to make models so much better and just run so much longer, and having like intermediate steps that does just a lot of stuff eventually to find an answer. Yeah, so it's all changing as well, and we're also like we're trying so hard to beat the general models. Like when we published this paper last year, it was earlier last year that we have like a 176, I would say, tests for crypto tasks, and we give it to the general models versus Surf. And general models generally don't perform that well, especially without external knowledge, without the tools. Even given the tools, I think they still make a lot of mistakes. They generally get to nowhere close to 60 or like 65%. And we think like 80% is probably the baseline for anything that's reasonably good. Yeah, but that baseline is also dramatic. Like general models are also improving a lot faster. We're shipping like a second version of the benchmark as well, and we're like exploring much harder questions. Like rather than just asking it to give you an answer, we want to like, oh, can you do a task that would probably take a human to do for like 5 hours straight, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so the eval is also changing. The way we improve the system is also changing. People expect just smarter things. Yeah, it's quite fascinating.
Yeah. So actually, I wonder like is the scenario, user scenario in use case in crypto from your experience different than other industry for reliable AI agent from what you see? Like for example, I'm pretty sure it's probably different, from the currently mass adoption AI agent. I can say from customer support is a major one, coding agent is super hot, and then you have this personal companion AI agent. In this case, Character.ai is still very hot, and search agent, from Perplexity has tons of adoption. Like, do you find it like this in this case like agent in crypto environment, crypto related agent or financial related agent different than others? And what's your opinion here?
I think it's very different, right? Like people, like crypto market, like crypto users are one of the earliest adopters of AI products. They love AI products. They love exploring, just being tech savvy. But like they can't really trust a lot of the results from general models. And a big part of that is just general models tend to hallucinate a lot, and general models don't have access, right? Like if you ask what is the latest on like on-chain metrics or whatever business metrics of Kite, probably doesn't know because like it doesn't have access to the RPCs, doesn't have access to like the actual data. It would just probably come up with a random answer from searching on the internet, right? Like, oh, Kite had this like one news or like a fake news in the worst case that's on Google search, and they would just use that for users, like for the users asking questions. That's just terrible, right? When we did the papers are our paper, the benchmark paper is called Hallucination Cost Millions, specifically because if you get any inaccurate result and you trade or you invest based on those results, it's just terrible. So that's why I think for Surf to just be better than general model is just having that trust and just being really, really accurate. I think we're still there's still a lot of room for improvement for us, but that's like the direction we're going. And that's, I think, where vertical models is really, really important, is like having domain data, having that domain specific expertise, and it just is able to produce things you can trust. How many times you've used like Gemini or ChatGPT for like a crypto topic and just gives you like a wild result and you just cannot trust it? Or like, even if it gives you some seemingly good result, you still can't trust it. And that happens to me all the time.
Oh, I see. So I actually never use it for crypto topic. I feel like most of the question I interact with me is either coding or just this research question.
Yeah.
In this case, yeah.
You
But
try
I can say how it goes. Yeah.
yeah, like if you try like search, oh, what's like good AI project in crypto, it probably wouldn't tell you Kite because it's probably all like old, very, very old protocols that existed like 5 years ago that has like a lot of SEO content. And then like people starting to, oh, if we can do GEO on that content, we can make Kite on that list. But that's not what people are looking for, right? They are actually looking for an answer that your like an expert will actually tell you rather than just random content from the internet. So
Right.
that's like a big, I think that's a big issue, just with trusting what AI says in crypto.
Actually, let's talk about macro trend a little bit. I feel like so I feel like there are following things happening just in last 2 months in this case. First is that you have a fundamentally a new version of coding agent. Coding agent is fundamentally different than before. With Codex, with this GPT 5.2, and then with the improvement from cloud and open code, I feel like it's reached a inflection point in less than 2 months ago, like December of last year. It reached an inflection point. Now, agent AI are better coders than humans in this case. So I feel like when we do the internal benchmark, we used to say, hey, only 30% of the code can be usable in last August. Only 30% of code is usable, and then I think fast forward to October with GPT-5 rolling out, we feel like that's got rolled to 80%, and then since December, January, that's actually raised to almost a 95%. Nowadays, I feel like if you still code yourself, it's probably you probably not leverage the best tool. Like two crazy thing I found is that I chat with PingCap founder a lot, because my previous experience in database. So they mentioned they use AI to rewrite the PingCap front end from MySQL to Postgres. In this case, it's a front end parser. In this case, like a DB parser from MySQL to Postgres. It only took them one engineer less than 2 weeks, and then it rewrote like roughly 50,000 lines of code in a 500,000 lines of code base. The quality is actually pretty good, and it passed the bar for evaluation. All the tests. So now, like nowadays, it used to be engineering do the coding, and you have a test engineer to do testing. Now I feel like majority of engineering work is that setting up the environment, set up benchmark, set up testing case, and you let the AI perform the work and just evaluate. A similar story, I think, happens that Cloud actually published a project they use. I read like a day ago, like they use Rust to rewrote one of the foundation repo. I forget which repo. They use Rust to rewrote repo from scratch. Yeah, from.
I think it's a C compiler.
C compiler, yeah. I feel I think it's used Rust to rewrote the C compiler, and then it happens almost within a few weeks, and with under $100,000 in this case. This is unimaginable in this case, few years back. This is unimaginable in a few years back, and this is actually we're working into a new area, in this case. I feel like engineering are not evaluated by algorithm, familiar algorithm and how fast you code. I think engineering is more evaluated by the engineering taste in this case. It's like everyone is more like engineering designer instead of actually engineer in this case. Ryan, what do you feel? What do you feel? What do you think?
100% right. I think it's 100% right. Two things that come to my mind is one is from my personal experience and from the Twitter that I follow, is a lot of people who became somewhat manager stop coding, and now they just because of how good the model the AI models are, especially Cloud Code. I think people are going back to code. I started to code a lot more. I am coding probably the most amount in the company now, just because I understand I wasn't able to code a lot during. Just if I don't have 4-hour block, because if you can't just code 30 minutes, that doesn't work at all.
Right.
If you're coding by hand, and now you can just really just code something and just let it run, and you can just do something else and come back to it. So it's really enabling people. And there were a lot of code before, probably the same case as the PingCap one. There's a ton of code that you wish you had the time to do it, but if you calculate out the ROI is not good enough, right? There's something that's maybe it's useful, but maybe it's not really. You probably just don't do it. And there's a ton of that. And with vibe coding, you can just do all of that, because the cost of the time it took for me to write I'm doing so many. I'm probably coding 5 apps every week at this point. Some internal, some external, some with our design partners. It's just a lot of them are very I know how to do it, but before I have to talk to someone to do it for me. Now I think Claude just does it. So that's one thing. I'm very, very amazed, and I think it makes me so much more enabled.
Yeah. So Ryan, I don't think you are the only one here. For example, if we look at how the open cloud founder in this case, he was really disappointed. Like you don't have this major company release a personal assistant. They thought, hey, the personal assistant is definitely Apple's thing and it's Google's thing. But he waited for several months. No one is releasing this personal assistant. He started the project last October and then say, hey, I'll just do a POC, proof of concept, and then within 2 days, he actually has something running and surprise him in this case because of the inflection point of this coding agent. The coding agent, like inflection point of coding agent, like a majority of work, he just think about design principle. He make a tons of the design. For example, it's built on top of Pi framework. It not use MCP, but use like a Linux command and execute code. So agent actually directly execute code instead of you use MCP or JSON-based configuration. He has a lot of how he manage memory and then short-term memory, long-term memory, and personality for the personal agent. Tons of the design principle there. But I think what actually enable him to be a one-person company, like a one-person superstar project, is still like the inflection point for the agentic model, AI coding model. What amazed me most in this case is that, for example, when I installed OpenCloud 2 weeks ago, I do some play around with it. I know OpenCloud is actually not integrated with image to video generation, and it's not integrated with my OOP, my personal health tracking app. And then I just say, hey, OpenCloud, can you actually help me monitoring my sleep information, sleep data, or news access data? And then what found amazing that this used to be integration engineering work. So if I'm an integration engineer, I will first search for OOP developer doc, and then I will register API key. And then based on the common use pattern, for example, I want to get my my sleep data, health data, access data, and then based on this high level insights, I convert this insights to API call to generate insights. This used to take integration engineer like few days work. The open cloud just figure out everything end to end themselves. The only thing I need is that I just need to give them an API key. I register on OOP. That's the only thing I need. Then the open cloud just search through the docs for API and then code everything themselves. Like this reminds me, I feel like all the SaaS company, if you look at this SaaS company, sometimes a small app company just build one single functionality on top of data. In this case, all these company probably got gone because you don't need to build that app. Just have agent. Maybe you can even have agent generate on the fly.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I'm 100% sure that's the case. When I tried OpenClaw, probably like December. It was like this guy, because like the guy Peter was very popular on the like talking about vibe coding at the time. I was like, oh, guy's pretty good. He vibe coded probably 200 projects before OpenClaw, or like just building random stuff. And I was actually during the holiday building, like I always wanted, like I do some random stuff. I used to like have different tools to connect them all, and I just built an app over like 30 minutes and just do all the things for me. Just like posting stuff and connecting some data, some images, and just putting stuff on social. I just don't do that anymore. And yeah, so it's fascinating. I think in the future, everyone will have app on demand. Like you don't download an app, you have like just tell it to build an app for you on demand, and you use it one time, and you don't even need it like in the future. Probably that's where the future is.
I wonder, like, what's your opinion with OpenClaw? Actually, I just discovered like late January. So, what's your opinion with early days of OpenClaw? How fast, what's the direction you're saying it's going? Like, there's, I feel like the Silicon Valley people are, crazy about OpenClaw. Like, there is a CloudCon happens like last Wednesday, and then I have to be a volunteer in order to squeeze in. Like there is 800 people in like a one room in this case. It's crazy. 800 people squeezed into one room in this case. Yeah. Like what's your opinion about OpenCloud?
Yeah, I think when I used it, I wasn't really I wasn't sure if this is where I would spend my time on, but I think it's probably the big unlock is how it's like that you like from Unix command line to some kind of interface that people are a little bit more familiar with. I think it just amazes a lot of non-technical people a lot more. I feel like I'm really good on Cloud Code already. Like I'm really good in terminal. I don't ask ChatGPT anymore. I just always terminal
Right.
Cloud Code. But it turns out like right, if you have that accessibility on the apps that you're familiar with, like if you can connect on your Telegram or WhatsApp, it's very powerful. Like and if connecting that to other parts of your life is a lot easier than Cloud Code, it's also pretty powerful. I think it's still not probably not the final product. The final product will definitely be, I think, definitely be something that lives on the cloud and people can set up a lot easier. But it still has a lot of hurdle, and the group of people that is designed for is probably more non-technical. I think this year is going to be everything is going to be a coding app, a vibe coder. Everything is a vibe coding app. Our entire company, like, it's a requirement to be on Cloud Code. Like everyone, non-technical, has to be on Cloud Code as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel like this actually, the more people I chat with, particularly even in this big AI company, for example, OpenAI, cloud, and then the more actually this require like everyone to upgrade, and then for engineers, the more they worry about their job because they feel like the AI is already better engineer than the software engineer.
We are.
So actually, we have a very aggressive hiring plan. Last December, and then we say, hey, let's actually upgrade everyone with the latest model and say how big gap it is. We have 15 to 20 engineering role opening last December, and then I think with recent development, say, hey, let's make sure everyone now actually upgraded with the latest coding practice and say how much gap we have in this case. And then I feel like that's I feel like this is inevitable. Like it will be have for engineering, it will have K-shape in this case. You have a really good engineer, is great demand in this case, more and more productive. But you probably have long tail the junior engineer which not be able to find a job, I guess.
Yeah, I like you used to be right. Like you're a CTO. I come from a CTO background too. Like it used to be like I wish I can hire people like me. Now I don't wish that. Like I think Claude is way better than me. And if you run it like now with a team, like I feel like when I'm talking to Claude, I'm like talking to 10 of me already. Like I try to keep up. Like it's me blocking Claude doing more. It's Claude does way more than I do. Like it's literally I have to be more productive to keep up. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I completely agree. I feel like now one of the metrics I'm trying to beat and in my company and is that how fast can you spend like $10,000 on the tokens in this case? This is like model tokens, not like crypto tokens. It's like I feel like it's the number of token you spend is proportional to the productivity you're going to generate it in this case because the model are so smart.
It is. It is. It is.
Cool. Ryan, I asked tons of questions. I wonder if you have something you want to discuss, and then questions you like to discuss.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna come back to. I know Kite has been working on a lot of very interesting stuff, especially X402 is a big part of it. I know we share a lot of common investors as well, especially like Coinbase Ventures. I know they are pretty heavy on betting on X402. Yeah, maybe I'd love to hear how you think about like the entire agentic payment or just how that would look like. I'm new to it. I know Surf has an X402 endpoint, so if
actually Stripe just published X4 to support as well on base use USDC. I think we are at very early stage of the agentic payment in this case. There are several reasons. The biggest fundamental reason is agents are not that reliable enough to make payment on behalf of human in this case. The second part is that there are not a lot of the service or merchant willing to accept USDC or USDT, a stable coin in this case. And then I think now everyone realized, we used to call this first stable coin on blockchain is a native currency for agent. We call this out like last January or February. But I think more and more people are strongly agree to this. You have, Brian Armstrong, you have a Circle CEO, Jeremiah, and you have this, Temple, like ex founder of this forecaster joined Temple like yesterday, and then this week, and then he calling out like stablecoin is a native currency for crypto. So stablecoin native currency for AI agent in this case. Like more and more reach to consensus, this is actually going to be the thing in this case. But I think we're still like a few years, maybe 6 months to a few years away from agent actually can make payment on behalf of human. Existing Expo tool, even though it has tons of hype about agent payment, but if you look at the use case, it's actually the people who initialize the payment is still human. It's like I access a website. It charged like, for example, the Stripe example built like released yesterday. I access a website. It charged me 1 cent, and then I authorize this 1 cent. From end-to-end expectation, there is actually no agent involved. It's just a human. I want to access this and approve for this 1 cent spending for this website, for this resource. So I think there is like a technical and maturity of the technology issues, the agent payment not happening today, but I feel like 5 to 10 years from now, almost all the payment will be done by agent because payment is the most tedious stuff. And then there is fundamental difference between existing payment flow and agentic payment flow. Let's take like for example, who initialize the payment is different. Existing payment flow is that I look at some shopping, I checkout page, I pay and confirm I'm going to purchase these things. In this case, it could be like a computer, a laptop, a Mac Mini. But for agent payment is that, hey, I want to have a laptop, I want to have a computer, I can deploy my open cloud. I have a budget of $1,000, help me out in this case. So the agent, you have delegation first payment in this case. So the agent will be one to initialize the payment. User is the one to authorize a delegation in this case. So this case, the UX is different, the user flow is different, the who initialize is different, and the authorization unit is different. And then if you look at from the payment pattern, it's very different as well. The existing payment is leaning back on the credit card, which is actually the payment size is ranging and anywhere between $10 to $10,000. But with agent payment and AI payment, most of them are going to be a small payment, like micro burst payment, some streaming payment, and occasionally larger settlement. For example, if I'm using this image generation, probably just pay less than 1 cent in this case. You cannot use credit card for it. It's going to charge you 30 cents plus 3% fee. In that case, it's not feasible. And then how frequent the payment is going to be different as well in this case. And also the data model for the payment is very different. For example, existing payment for transaction is everything is a one-off. I just purchase this, I swipe card, that's it. But for agent payment, because you have delegation first, you need full trace from this is the user's delegation, this is the user intent. This is a list of invoice from different services to meet user intent. And this is the execution result, and this is the payment receipt. So you need a full trace of like this agent to maybe millions of services just for one task in this case. And then you have full trace from intent to invoice to execution to payment to a payment receipt in this case. So it's very different. The last part is that I feel like a AI agent developer, more and more people realize, in this case, AI agent developer. Developer want to spend money in a programmable way. Existing credit card is not programmable. It's not very clear what they can spend in this case. You don't have like a risk model, clear risk model in this case. You don't have like a programmable agreement between payer and payee. But for stablecoin and blockchain, everything can be transparent, like Cody's law. You have this risk model. You can have escrow smart contract or different business logic. So in this case, you can just deposit money there, and once the service is verified, you transfer the money in the escrow, the ownership transfer of ownership from the payer to payee in this case. So I think that's all the major difference. If you think about this as a fundamental, everything is different from UX pattern, user flow, to the payment pattern, to the how we handle this data model, to the how we resolve this conflict. Everything is different here.
Wow, I think when you say the enables much smaller payment size, I think that really clicks with me. Like, because that's if we see intelligence on tap, like model token usage, it's like tap water, right? It's like rather you pay for what you use. It really makes sense if we can just pay it on the go rather than having to top up like a credit, or having to settle afterwards. Both are terrible.
Agree. So like one of the investor just told me like he's really interested in like he subscribed to this Michael Barry's this new blog post, and then he has to give like $400 a year, but he just want to read 1 or 2 articles in this case. Like again, so this monthly subscription, this all the existing payment structure is because of limitation of underlying payment infrastructure in this case. So they cannot do streaming payment. They cannot do like micro payment. They can only serve payment size of $10 to $10,000 in this case, because underlying charge 3% by 30 cents in this case. And if you think about underlying credit card network, you actually see how many people are saying be part of this network. You have issuer to issue individual credit card. They need to down tons of KYC. You have acquire, like card acquire. It acquires business unit. In this case, it do need to do KYB. And you have card network to credit card network to connect the issuer with acquire. In this case, it's you need to guarantee this connection and also this fraud detection. So you understand how the 3% fees charged in this case. But it's not going to be fit for the agentic payment. The underlying infrastructure is too old, like too stale for the new agent payment, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's super exciting. Yeah, very excited to see where you guys are going. And yeah, 2026 would be, I think, a lot of new innovation on AI and crypto together. I think we'll see if we can do something more interesting together.
Yeah, for sure. We are releasing our mainnet very soon in this case, and also we are releasing the agent passport in a few months as well. So nice. I feel like So the mainnet probably come before this agent passport. We are doing some POC with agent passport with companies and different partners, design partners first. Great. Okay, so I think we are closing to 1 hour mark. Any last question you want to discuss? I really appreciate you here, Ryan. In this case, I feel like it's very insightful discussion.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. I know, we've known each other for so long, and it's nice that we are all kind of still in crypto and still in on the more frontier AI stuff. I think I'll probably, I don't have any more questions. I'll just probably shamelessly plug Surf. And if everyone has anything you want to ask about crypto, I think Surf is still the best place to do that. Doesn't have to be super technical. Just ask it like why market goes up, why market goes down, or look at the news that we generate on our AI news. If just go on asksurf.ai or follow us surfai on Twitter. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Thank you. Yeah, very interesting time and super excited time to build. It's bear market, so everyone back to build mode.
Yeah. We'll do something together this year.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
I appreciate your time. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.